Welcome to it, sports fans, episode 8 from the Bleachers with me, MKT. What an awesome day it's been. Good to be back in the city of Cape Town. Boiling hot. Or piping hot, as we say in South Africa. Super hot, but great weather. Cape Town, of course, attracting all the tourists, so people are out and about. Awesome weekend. And awesome to be back. And ultimately, what a great sports weekend in the end. Bafana, South Africa drew. The cricket, they won. Even though it's T20 and it's a stretch calling it cricket. But I saw the result, they won. And then ultimately the Springboks won. And indeed the big one that we will review and have a look at as one of our topics. The All Blacks, Ireland, absolute cracker. History being made there. So today we're going to talk about a few things. Of course, all things Premier League, international rugby and cricket today. So all of the big three in the Southern Hemisphere. And we're going to start off with, of course, the sort of talk around Liverpool. And them still being a big club. Are Liverpool still a big club? Or has that waned? So we'll take a slightly deeper look into all of that. See if Liverpool are still what they used to be. And what they claim they still are. So we're going to get into that. That's going to be a fun topic. Are Liverpool still a big club? And then, of course, the age-old debate. They've had it in New Zealand since they lost their favourite son, Daniel Carter. Can he be compared to anybody in the history of rugby and anyone to come? Well, the man who's got the mantle and shoes to fill now, of course, of Beauden, Barrett, different player. Can he ever be compared? So I'll look into that a little bit and tell you my thoughts on that and a little bit more. And then this weekend, saw a little bit of the Proteas cricket. Was in a situation where I had to watch T20, if you can call it cricket, but I saw something which disturbed me, and I'm gonna address that regarding the Proteas and some of their players. So all in all, a fun-packed show: football, rugby, cricket. This is going to be an awesome show. I don't think I've had a show where we've done all three. So that's what this show is all about. Remember, football, rugby, international rugby, the cricket. We're going to get into all of those. So it's going to be across the board. Looking forward to it. So let's get into it. Let's get into our first topic of the day. And it's about Liverpool. So I've been reading plenty of articles. And of course, a lot of my mates support Liverpool. And for the first time in a long time, it looks like they've got a team which they believe can win the title. Champions League final last year. Real Madrid, of course, stopping them at the very last hurdle, whether you think it was legal or not. Sergio Ramos on Salah changing the game, some say. Some say it was already written in the stars. Real Madrid had too much quality in Kroos, Bale, Ronaldo and company. But either way, they had a strong side. And they have a strong side. And they believe they're even better. They've got Virgil van Dijk. And Liverpool fans still tell me, and will continue to tell you, that they are what they call in football a big club. Now, generally in England, what that means is the top four. In Spain, it's the top 2.5. You could really call Atletico Madrid a half big team. In Germany, they've got 2. But in England, they're quite spoiled. It's the big 4 in England. And anybody who's consistently a part of that big 4 is generally, it's an unwritten rule, part of the big clubs. Now, Liverpool continue to tell us, their fans will never let you forget that they're a big club. So I thought I'd take a look into this because I'm a reasonable man. And I thought we'd get going. Investigating all of these claims by the Merseyside Reds. You know, everybody has that one friend. And I think everybody can testify to this. He just can't leave high school. In high school, he'll tell you he was unbelievable. He was the best cricketer, best rugby player, best footballer. All the girls liked him. He had the best looking girlfriend. And he'll keep talking about that. And he's the guy who still is like 35 and still wears a cap backwards. He's the guy who now doesn't have a girlfriend and is still drinking Tuesday nights at the pub. And he's the last guy at the pub. Closing the pub down, telling the older guys and the bar staff how great he was. 20 years ago in high school, he was unstoppable. And he never left, and he's got his backwards cap on. You know, in 2018, we live in an awesome time. But there's this word called greatness, right? Greatness is so overused. And I'm not saying, and I mean, I guess I'm getting old at 32 now. I'm getting on. So I'm not saying it like, oh, those millennials on the Facebook. What I mean by this is all you need is essentially 10 cool YouTube clips for your team or individuals, and immediately you're great. Not good, not accomplished, great. Like, have you seen so-and-so? Have you seen his YouTube highlights? That's all you need to be great now. You don't even need a full season. If you've got like 10 awesome highlights, you're great. And it is, of course, the age of consuming information in droves. We're flooded now. Highlights, flicks, skills, tricks, 30-yarder. If a guy scores a 30-yard goal, remember, you're going to see it 1,000 times in a week. Whereas back in the day, you saw it once, you saw it in the highlights package, and that was it. So the guy needed like 10 big moments in a season to be great, and he probably needed 100 career moments. But now, if you just have 10 incidents in your whole career, you're great. That's all you need. You know, Liverpool fans keep telling me that they're a big club. But I'm a fair man, so I thought, what do the numbers say? Because otherwise there's conjecture, and I don't support the same club as them, so they'll say, oh, you're just a homer for your team. So, the great equalizer. Numbers. What do the numbers say? Not what do I feel, not what do you feel, because feelings are very subjective. And they get us in trouble a lot. So I thought, you know what? Let's be grown-ups about it. And let's look at what the numbers say. Not what do Liverpool fans say. Not what does Graham Souness say. Not what I say. Not what do Chelsea fans say. Not what do Arsenal fans say to put them down. Not what do the Everton fans feel. But what do the numbers say? Because what I love about numbers is numbers have no morality whatsoever. They are amoral, and they will tell you a truth so cold whether you like to hear it or not. That's the beauty of numbers. They are the great equalizer. So let me look at the numbers. Liverpool 18 Premier League titles, which is the second most in Premier League history. Famously, Sir Alex Ferguson said, we'll knock them off their perch. So you can't knock them for that. 7 FA Cup titles, which is 5th behind Arsenal, United, Chelsea, and Spurs. And then 5. They'll tell you they did it in Istanbul 5 times. 5 Champions League titles, tied 3rd with Barcelona and Bayern Munich. That's 5 Champions League title, and they are 3rd on that log. Surely, 18 Premier League titles, 7 FA Cup titles, 5 Champions League titles, surely the conversation's over. They're a big club, surely. But what do the numbers say when you delve a little bit deeper? So that's what the numbers say up front. That's what we call rough numbers. Or the gross figures, if you like. Those are what the gross figures, those are the figures I can see. But we've seen it before. People have gone to jail for things like tax avoidance. Because if you manipulate the numbers and you massage the numbers, you can make them work for you. So what you've got to do sometimes is go second level. And you leave the gross numbers and you go to the statistical analysis. What does that say on the next level? Because what those numbers don't tell you is that Liverpool's last league title was 28 years ago. I'll let that sink in. 28 years ago. If you need to know how long 28 years ago was, the number 1 song on the 28th of April in 1990, the weekend that Liverpool secured their last league title in the English top division, was Sinead O'Connor, Nothing Compares to You. Sinead O'Connor's Nothing Compares to You. That was 28 years ago on the 28th of April, 1990. I'm going to let that sink in. That's 28 years ago that Liverpool won their title. When I say 18 titles, surely big club. When I say the title is 28 years ago, that leads us to a different conversation. It's been so long since Liverpool won their last title that Sinead O'Connor, who now goes by Shuhada David, went from an ordained Catholic priest and is now practicing as a Muslim. That's how many spiritual revolutions and revelations Sinead O'Connor has had. She's gone from ordained Catholic priest to a practicing Muslim. That is how long it's been since Liverpool have won the league title. Since Liverpool's last title, the internet, the Walkman, the iPod, and even Britney Spears has come and gone. Internet, Walkman, iPod, Britney Spears. Miley Cyrus wasn't even born the last time that the Reds from Merseyside lifted the English First Division title. I nearly said Premier League title there, but they've never lifted that, because that started in 1992, 1993. 3 FA Cups since 1992, since the league went to the FA Premier League. Once again, big club, surely. 3 FA Cups is nothing to sneeze at. But then when I go a little bit deeper, that last FA Cup is 13 years ago. 13 years ago. If you don't remember it, Steven Gerrard hit one of the volleys of all time against West Ham. If you haven't seen it, he is cramping about 30 seconds before he hits it, but it is about a 35-yard absolute screamer. 3 FA Cups since 1992, but the last one, I sit here in 2018, the last FA Cup that Liverpool won was 13 years ago. The last league title, I will repeat to you, was 28 years ago. Liverpool have one Champions League title. Rafa Benitez, of course, getting himself the false, I hate to call it this, that they got the false treble under Gerard Houllier, and Rafa did his thing. That famous night in Istanbul, of course, against a legendary Jaap Stam, Alessandro Nesta, Cafu, Dida, Crespo, Kaká, Shevchenko. What a team that was. From 2-0 down, they made history. Steven Gerrard came on at halftime, and the rest is glory, or scored just before halftime, or just after halftime to make it 3-1. And the rest is glorious history. In Istanbul, they did it 5 times. But in that time, since 1990, their last title, remember Manchester United have won 2 Champions League titles. Chelsea have got themselves a Champions League title. So you can almost write that off if we're just comparing them to the English clubs, because I thought it was unfair to compare them to the other big clubs. You might say, okay, I've maneuvered those numbers. The best way to tell how good somebody is, right, is the average. That's generally how we do it. What is the average? In Test cricket, you want to know, does the guy average 50? Because then he's part of the top echelon. When you think Lara, Kallis, Tendulkar, you go, what's his average? Is it above 49? 49, 50, he's world class. He's different. The average over a career, over a time span of 28 years, will tell you exactly what we're dealing with here. Big club, Liverpool say. The average league position for Liverpool since the Premier League started, so since 1990, but I will take it just since the Premier League started, is 5th. That's not what I say. That's what the numbers say. So on average, Liverpool, throughout the 28 years of the Premier League, have an average position of 5th. Now you might tell me, big club, and that's how you feel. But 3 decades, that's what we're sort of getting close to now. 3 decades of mediocrity. You can tell me about the slip from Steven Gerrard. You can tell me about Luis Suarez being suspended that season. That's not my problem. You cannot call yourself a big club anymore 10 years, I can understand. 20 years, I can understand. But 3 decades, by the way, by the academic standard, just for those of you out there that are scholars, unlike me, the academic standard, a generation according to the academic standard is 25 years. So no conjecture, I'm not making it up, there's no bias, there's no innuendo, there's not me pushing an agenda. According to these scholars, Liverpool have literally gone a generation and more without a Premier League title. Now, I don't care who you are, if you haven't won a Premier League title in a generation, you are not a big club. You need to stop it. 30 years is far too long for you to be pontificating and telling me about your yesteryears. Hey guy, in the pub on a Tuesday night, closing down the pub, telling everybody with your backwards cap how great you used to be, how good looking your girlfriend used to be 20 years ago when you used to have one. You with your belly that's growing, because you haven't moved on from high school, you can't keep telling me that and expecting me to buy your story, dude. There's a reason you're at a pub on a Tuesday night, all on your own. You're not that hot shot anymore, buddy. Liverpool are that guy who's closing down the pub at the age of 35, still telling everybody how great he was in high school. You know, nostalgia allows us to embellish, and time, it allows the mythology to build about how great they were. Dalglish, Paisley, those were 30 years ago. In real life, I'll tell you what Liverpool are. Liverpool are like Kodak. So Kodak, we know in the 80s, 90s, dominated everything. Apple came along, made the iPhone. iPhone put a camera in it. Kodak said, we don't need to worry about that. We've got the biggest. iPhone said, we don't want to be the biggest. We want to be the best. Liverpool are Kodak. Nobody's got a Kodak anymore. Everyone's got an iPhone. Everyone's got an iPhone. You're out of date and you're out of time. Liverpool are no longer a big club. I will repeat it, an average league position of 5th place. That data is over 28 years, by the way. That's not me making it up. Big reputation and Dalglish campfire stories. Yes, I'll give you that. Big club, no chance. Liverpool, once again, are the guy who never left high school. He's got his backwards cap on. It's Tuesday night and he's the last guy at the pub, telling everybody just how great he was before. And I've said it before, I'll say it again. The beauty of numbers is they take out the dumb guy conversation. Nobody cares how you feel. Everybody cares that it's true. I'm not asking Liverpool fans to like what I'm saying. I'm asking you to look at the numbers. 28 years ago was the last league title. 13 years ago was the last FA Cup title. And the average league position that Liverpool have maintained throughout their tenure of the Premier League is 5th place. It's over now. Liverpool or Kodak. Everybody's carrying an iPhone. Now this weekend, let me move to this. This weekend we saw some history. Ireland eventually knocked over the All Blacks. Ireland eventually knocked over the All Blacks. I'm going to let that sink in. First time ever. Couldn't believe it when I heard it. First time ever. You know, if you're a parent, there are 2 types of sort of people and kids on this planet. There are those that, you know, as a parent, when they go out, you need to check up on them every 2 hours, make sure they're okay, WhatsApp, text, see where they are, how they're doing, who they're with. Are you guys driving? Who's driving? Do you have a sober driver? Who's designated? Please just let me know. Let me know where you guys are. If you move parties, if you move to someone else's house, let me know. There are those kids. I fall into that department. Oh, I did anyway, when I was young and fun. The other kids are the type You know, when parents say, just let me know when you get home, or I'll see you in the morning. One of those two. Just let me know when you get home. There's the one guy like me, where your parents are up sweating bullets, as they say. Parents can't sleep, it's a work day, and you go out, and it's 2:30 in the morning and your mom's still texting you. That's me. That's guys like me. Or I used to be like that. Alternatively, there's the guys or people like my sister. My sister was super responsible. She's the type, no worries. She used to get home, my mum used to say, just let me know when you're home. No problem. Well, I'll see you in the morning at breakfast. No worries. I've heard so many people in my life say, or recently, say that Barrett is better than Carter. Daniel Carter was nowhere near the player that Barrett is. He doesn't have the speed, this, that. I'd like to announce that I've subsequently stopped talking to those people. As soon as they say that, I write them off from my life. The Irish once again knocked over the All Blacks for the first time on Saturday. And if Courtney Laws knew the laws and the rules that I think we were all taught playing rugby at about 10 years old, England would have beaten the All Blacks last week. The alarming thing for me is not even the results, not the close nature, not that Ireland beat them. I've rewatched both games. I have not seen a single tactical kick in behind the English or the Irish wingers' backs at all. Not a single territorial kick. Let that sink in. Beauden Barrett has not kicked a single territorial raking kick in wet weather against England and soft underground against Ireland. The All Blacks were struggling. Crotty couldn't get it over the gain line. Yet I didn't see a single tactical kick from the boot of Beauden Barrett. For me, the alarm bells for Steve Hansen should have started ringing on the 8th of July in 2017. What date was that? That was the third test. All Blacks, British and Irish Lions. And Beauden Barrett missed two absolute sitters. One conversion, one penalty. And you'll remember in that game, there's the controversial penalty, accidental offside, all of that drama. But that is not where New Zealand lost that game. Beauden Barrett, in a big game, missed two easy kicks. It should have been good night nurse, and even when the British and Irish Lions won the game, he missed 3 kicks in that game. But I'm focusing on that last one. In the third test, 8th of July 2017, go and rewatch it, he misses 2 absolute sitters. In 2018, if you didn't watch this year's Super Rugby final, I was really, really intrigued because it became a test match. It became a test match in that semi-final. Crusaders played the Hurricanes. And once again, Beauden Barrett showed a one-dimensional nature as Mo'unga drove the Hurricanes pack back and he kept turning them around so he wouldn't let Ardie Savea and that dangerous Hurricanes back row get going. A lot of the time he did the old school thing he made sure they were running backwards. If a team is better than you and you're a fly half, those are fly half. That's fly half 101. You make sure that their forwards are not running towards you, they are running backwards. Mo'unga showed the ability to play checkers or chess. And Barrett failed. The All Blacks lost to South Africa, and they should have lost twice, but South Africa are a poor side. But they should have lost twice. And that should have been alarm bells. And I think we saw it for the very first time in the game against the Springboks. Beauden Barrett has shown his Achilles heel. He is unable to defend if you run straight at him and you've got support runners on the inside shoulder. If you have a look at the Ireland game again, they targeted him until they cracked. That inside shoulder, as soon as they're running straight at him, they know they've got the inside wing coming, or a loose forward, or the hooker is on the inside shoulder of the fly half. Have a look at how many offloads Sexton put in there. The Achilles heel is that Beauden Barrett on attack has zero plan B. If it can't be flashy, like I say, go and rewatch the Ireland games, go and rewatch the England game. Not a single territorial kick, just to get his forwards moving forward. Barrett has no plan B. It is gung-ho or bust. And when you actually think about it, Barrett and Hansen are actually not exactly hand in glove. One is the stoic sort of a headmaster figure, and Barrett has that nature of like a naughty schoolboy who just doesn't want to get caught, and he's smoking around the corner. And I think those cracks are starting to show. The All Blacks don't have Sam Cane, who I think is a second captain, and I think Kieran Reid is struggling to carry the load. Remember, Kieran Reid came from McCaw and Carter at the same time. Both left at the same time, and that is a void that I think they still haven't filled. Talent never going to be a problem. But I've said it before, I'll say it again, system beats talent. And the All Blacks had a system with very clear direction and clear leadership. For the first time in probably 20 years, remember they came straight from Marshall and Mertens, to Carter and McCaw. That is leadership. Kieran Reid now has to carry the whole team on his back. And I'm not sure that Barrett helps at all. It's now been shown Barrett is not a leader, and I don't think Hansen loves him. To be honest with you, I thought when Mo'unga has come on for the All Blacks, and in the final this year, Crusaders, Hurricanes in the Super Rugby, I think Mo'unga is a better number 10. I think Mo'unga is a better number 10. He could use it off the boot in open play. And most importantly, I'll get to it, he can kick off the tee. Mo'unga is a more complete number 10 and rock solid on defense. Let me be very clear. For anybody out there who's ever going to say that Daniel Carter and Beauden Barrett should ever be in the same sentence, let's just be very clear. Carter guided the All Blacks to 2 World Cup finals. He got injured, of course, in the one, and Stephen Donald did the rest. Clean sweep, where he was man of the series and absolutely marched the All Blacks in 2005 to a clean sweep over the British and Irish Lions. Remember, just before that, Andrew Mertens, it was said he might need to come back, and Carter doesn't look ready to take them over to the next level. Carter said, nope, you guys are going to jump on my back. Clean sweep British Lions, 2 World Cups in a row, and let's be fair. Wayne Barnes cheated them out of 2007, otherwise they're going to win that against us as well. Us being South Africa. He's the leading point scorer of all time. The beauty of having a complete number 10 is that when things are going badly as they are for the All Blacks, they don't have McCaw anymore. They don't have a Carter. They don't have Umanga. They don't have Nonu. When you lose that leadership, you need a number 10 that can control the game. Barrett has shown he can only play chess. Sorry, he can only play checkers. And a world-class fly half needs to be able to play checkers and chess. You need to be able to go into the trenches and make sure that when it's raining, when it's tough, when your forwards are going backwards, you can control tempo and you can tactically kick your team into position to put pressure on the other team. Carter always steadied the ship when it felt like it was sinking. Barrett has failed in his last 3 biggest tests. Because remember, sport is moments. Greatness is built upon moments. Daniel Carter, 2005, his moment came. They said he'll never be able to take over from Mertens. Clean sweep against the British and Irish Lions. Led them to 2 straight World Cup finals and won both. Barrett has failed in his last 3 biggest tests. the British and Irish Lions' third test, England 2 weeks ago, and Ireland this past week. It is the very first time that Ireland have beaten the All Blacks, and the All Blacks, I said it on Friday on the podcast, I've not seen the All Blacks look this vulnerable since Daniel Carter's retirement. It is the worst All Black side I've seen in 7 years. Nowadays, it's all about the new shiny thing. New is always better. That's what the kids say. I say no thank you. I'll have ye old reliable. Daniel Carter is not even a question, and I never want to hear anybody say it again. Because we have now seen when the pressure is on, Barrett is not the guy. Can't kick off the tee, can't kick out of hand. What you need to do at number 10, especially as an All Black 10, deliver us from evil. His last 3 biggest tests, Beauden Barrett has crumbled under the pressure. I think Richie Mo'unga will be the World Cup number 10. I thought they got better shape once he came on, and he'd started to dictate the game off the boot. If anything, Barrett looked sensational outside the numbers. He went to fullback, and every time he got it, he was electrifying. If I was of course Hansen, I'd put Barrett at fullback. I'd put Smith at right wing. Naholo they can rotate at left wing with the young sensation there from the Blues, and they can carry on. But for me, the World Cup number 10 now, it's very clear in the pressure moments. I have to go with Mo'unga. Barrett is exciting, but he is fundamentally flawed. And when you are fundamentally flawed, remember, in the pressure moments, you will crack. Because you don't have the pedigree and technique to fall back on. Barrett doesn't want to kick behind the wings. Barrett cannot kick behind the wings. He will not win the territorial game. We've seen it now. Sexton has defeated him twice. He lost to South Africa, and Ireland have beaten the All Blacks for the very first time. Carter was like a Land Cruiser. He could go anywhere. He came fully loaded. Every single gadget, GPS to everything. You need a cooler box in there. Barrett is like a super bike. You can take him on the track. It's exciting. It's fun. All the girls want to touch your leather jacket. But if there's a stone on there, if there is a stone on that track, you're in trouble. We're fetching you from the sand or even worse. So to anybody who keeps saying that Daniel Carter should be compared to Beauden Barrett, what you need to know is I will write you off immediately. Because it is silly talk to compare the Land Cruiser that can go anywhere, anytime, comes fully loaded with all the gadgets. You can stick your biltong, you can stick your cool drinks in the freezing cold fridge that comes stock standard with the Land Cruiser, or the super bike that can't even handle a pebble. Beauden Barrett's time, I'm afraid, as the New Zealand number 10 may be coming to an abrupt end. Congratulations to the Irish. We look forward to a fantastic World Cup. Speaking of World Cups and sports with World Cups, so this weekend I was up to a little bit. A friend of mine forced me to watch some T20, and it was a reduced T20. And I watched the Proteas. And I realized something. There are many shapes in life. The Proteas have just shown me that round is a shape, and that round wasn't the cricket ball. Quite honestly with you, I don't take T20 or one-day cricket seriously at all. I actually don't watch it at all. And now I know why. It is honestly the first T20 game I've probably watched in 2 years. Reduced to a 10-over game, it is a bunch of guys slogging. Zero cricket skill. I might sound like an old fuddy-duddy, but I didn't see a single cricket shot, because you get the same whether you hit it for 6 with a classy high elbow, or whether you're hitting it with the Barry Bonds to car corner. I didn't see people using the large Australian cricket grounds to rotate the strike. You can run 3 or 4 in Australia easily, even with fielders on the boundary. All of that skill's been taken out the game. But you know, something that struck me. I've been watching cricket since I was, seriously, 5 years old. My mom used to absolutely scream at me because I'd wake up. Back in the day, if you don't know, there was something called the Benson and Hedges series, World Series. And I used to wake up at like 4 in the morning on a school day, and my mom used to be furious. Sometimes like 2 in the morning if it was the early game. And my mom used to get furious at me. Like, go back to sleep. Can't really do my mom's voice, but I think that's what she sounded like. That's what I remember anyway. And I'd get up. Or maybe it was just after the Benson injury. But I remember the days when I used to look at the likes of Cullis, Smith, and Boucher and think, are those guys overweight or am I crazy? And then I'd go and watch them. I'm like, these guys are grossly overweight. I was gobsmacked. I was gobsmacked back then. I'm talking 10, 15 years ago. More. But I thought it was so disrespectful, especially when I went to the stadium and I'd see these guys being grossly overweight. Now, we live in a time where something like body shaming is unfortunately a tragic part of our society, and a aesthetically charged society is what we live in. That's a different conversation. But this is purely about respecting me as a cricket fan who pays my dollar to come and see world-class sportsmen. This past weekend, Andile Putluwayo and Tabriz Shamsi, shame on you. I could not believe the size of these guys' stomachs. Like, what world have we gone to? These guys are professional, elite sportsmen that earn millions of rands a year. Fans are paying top dollar to come and watch you. Like, what are you doing during the week? Why am I in better shape? Me, better shape than you. I shouldn't be in better shape than an international cricketer. In his peak, these guys are like, 22, and I think Shamsi's about 28? Like, I can understand a mother of 2 who has a full-time job and is a single mother. She has to pick up everyone. I can understand her getting a little bit chubby. It happens. It happens to all of us. It happens. You get older, you get chubby. Whatever. That's fine. That's life. But international cricketers being overweight is so... It's so perverse to me. And, you know, a lot of people think I'm shaming the sort of appearance, but it's far more than that. I'm shaming the behavior as well to allow yourself to get there. When I know people who work on the staff back in the day. They told me how unprofessional the aforementioned Cullis, Smith, and Boucher were, and that was horrifying for me. But to see these young men, I know medical staff that work for the Proteas right now look like they do, is horrific. They say they are unprofessional, and we can see it, guys. So what I'm lamenting is far more than the appearance. Is that fans are paying top dollar and you couldn't be bothered to go and get yourself conditioned and get in shape to do what you are paid millions of rands and pounds and dollars every year to go and do. Or you have one job, be in shape. One job. You got somebody to carry your bags for you. You've got somebody who sorts out your passport. You've got somebody who sorts out all your luggage. There's nothing an international sportsman has to do for 15 years. Especially if you're a Protea, it's a long career. Compared to other sports, it is a long career. Once you get that Protea and you get in the mix, you got yourself 10, 15 years where you don't have to do anything. Like, what are these guys up to on a Tuesday morning? Seriously, you're not playing on Tuesday morning, so what are you doing? It's an insult to the fans. No professional sportsman should ever look like that. And shame on the cricketers. Shame on SA cricket. It's absolutely disgusting that they do this because fans pay good money and people work hard to come and support you guys. From around the world, I don't care if you don't want to be a role model. Just be fit. Just be fit. Because that is your job and you're paid, for people like yourselves, you're grossly overpaid. And I'm never going to say sportsmen are overpaid, but your behavior when you do that it's the insult to the fans that pay full. I don't get a discount to come and watch you because you're not in condition to produce world-class performances. I don't get a discount as a fan. So I think I should be able to hold you accountable because that is not acceptable. So to SA Cricket, shame on you. And to Shamsi and Pechugwayo, it is disgusting. Gentlemen, get it together. Proteas, we love you, but you need to get it together. This is a professional organization, not a Sunday pub team. Sort it out. It's embarrassing. Folks, that is it from the Bleachers with me, MKT, this week. Love to hear your feedback. So let me know what else you would like to hear about. We've got an awesome week lined up. Premier League's back this week. I've got plenty of subjects. We'll be talking more Man United, Chelsea, Arsenal throughout the week. That's going to be awesome. Remember to look out for the Friday 5. Remember to share. If you love the content, please share it. Let everybody know that we are here from the Bleachers, here to stay, and we are going to keep producing the best content forevermore. For everybody in Africa, we are working on something awesome. So to anybody in Kenya, to anybody who's up there in Nigeria and Ghana, please share this because soon I'm hoping in 2019 to be coming up there and we'll be doing a few shows live in Ghana and Nigeria very, very soon. Some interesting talks happening there. So to all of you guys up there, please share it and let's spread the love. I'd love to hear what subjects you'd like to hear about. I've got plenty of awesome stuff coming this week from the Bleachers with me, MKT. That is it for Monday the 19th. Thank you very much for joining me. We'll chat again tomorrow.